Hershey Park is an amusement park located in the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania. This park isn't just known for being owned and operated by one of the biggest chocolate manufacturers in the world, but it is known for the rides. More specifically, the roller coasters. So today, I'm going to be ranking all the coasters at Hershey Park, as well as giving my honest feedback for each coaster. And I just want to quickly mention, before we jump into the video, is that these are going to be the 13 coasters currently at the park. And I say currently because, as you know, Wildcat, one of the more well-known wooden coasters at the park, is being transformed into an arm. See? I am so excited for that, and I'm going to be so distracted if I start talking about it. So let me stay focused on today's video, which is ranking all the coasters. I just wanted to clarify that so you won't be wondering, hey, you missed Wildcat. I'm obviously not going to put it on this list as most of the track is missing, but I just wanted to clarify that. Let's just jump into number 13 so I don't get distracted by RMC Wildcat. And kicking us off at the bottom of the list in the number 13 spot is Coco Cruiser. Coco Cruiser is a small little kiddie-style coaster which is designed to get little kids interested in riding roller coasters. And I get it, this ride stood no chance being any higher on this list as it is the only kiddie coaster on this list, and every coaster ahead of it goes faster than 16 miles per hour. I'm sorry, Coco Cruiser, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Just move on to number 12. Now into number 12, which is Trailblazer. Being opened in around 1974, this ride is running butter smooth. This coaster is designed to bridge the gap between kiddie coasters like Coco Cruiser and more intense coasters like Super Duper Looper. This coaster also has really nice theming as it is themed around the Wild West. What gets better than that? It also looks so amazing as it gracefully glides around the beautiful areas of foliage. Especially this photo up on screen, this is wallpaper quality right here, folks. Wallpaper quality. This ride is placed in the 12th spot as it has no intense elements on it, except for a small downward helix. The older generations will not find this element intense at all. Some might even find it relaxing, while the younger generations, especially those just getting into roller coasters, will really get a kick out of this element and the overall ride itself. Now on to number 11. Number 11 is Wild Mouse. Wild Mouse is the type of coaster that brings you up a lift, and instead of going into any sort of drop, you just have a bunch of sharp turns on the top. So the reason this is number 11 is it doesn't have any element on it that is honorable or famous, you could say. Like, for example, Storm Runner is most known for its 0 to 72 launch. Like, when you hear Storm Runner, the marketing on it is 0 to 72 launch. Or Candymonium's was tallest one in the park, fastest in the park, longest in the park. While Wild Mouse is just Wild Mouse. It's a bunch, there's no theming to it, it's just a bunch of steel wrapped around more steel. There is no really any theming to it. Plus, the restraints do make the ride quite unpleasant. They don't ruin the ride per se, but they do make it quite unpleasant as your thighs in the sharp turns are getting smashed into the side of the car, the restraint bar. It just makes it very unpleasant. So it just has to be number 11 because it has no theming. The restraints make it unpleasant. There is no special element about it. I guess you're probably wondering why I said, oh, this is bad. Oh, it has no theming. Oh, it has no anything. Why is it number 11? Why isn't it last? Well, because it is considered more of an intense coaster because of the turns on top, while Coco Cruiser and Trailblazer aren't really considered intense. I know a lot of people have Wild Mouse dead last on their list, but, you know, I've had some fun memories on it over the years, and I think just the memories I've had with it is what puts it ahead of everything. Because if I didn't have any memories on it, and it was just, ow, that hurt my legs, it would be dead last. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we finally made it to my top 10 coasters at Hershey Park, and kicking off this list is Laugh Track. Laugh Track is the park's indoor spinning coaster, which I'm personally not a huge fan of spinning coasters, but Laugh Track is the only spinning coaster that I actually enjoy. You probably know Laugh Track as it usually has very, very long waits. It's usually out of the building, and then when you get inside the building, it's just zigzag lines, which just takes hours to get to it. I've only gotten the chance to ride this ride once. It was a really fun experience as the inside is really dark and the only lights you have are the lights on the clown pop art elements, and there is fun music playing, like carnival music, there's sound effects, and you're spinning in the dark, and the next moment there's a flashing light in your face. It's really fun because you have no sense of where you're going. You're just spinning around with no control, saying, oh god, I don't know where I'm going next. Honestly, the overall theming of this ride is what puts it number 10, even though I'm not a huge fan of spinning coasters. The wait for this ride is usually way too long than it should. For the type of coaster this is, I would expect it to usually only have max of an hour wait on busy days, but for some reason, I guess because it is the only spinning indoor coaster at the park currently, that a lot of people are drawn toward it for some reason. I really don't know, because for the type of ride you're about to experience, I don't think really a 2-hour wait usually is worth it. But that's just me. Do you think laugh tracks lines are what they should, or do you think it should be a lot shorter for what the type of ride it is? Let me know in the comments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally made it out of the double digits, and kicking us off in the number 9 spot is Super Duper Looper. Super Duper Looper is a very historic looping coaster at the park. Super Duper Looper was the first coaster on the East Coast to feature a vertical loop, and I believe the second or third to feature a loop in general at the time. So yeah, this coaster is very historic. I want to quickly mention too that for its age, this ride is running butter smooth. You would think that a coaster being built in around the 1977, I believe, don't quote me on it, I think it was around 1977, would be a little shaky at times. But no, surprisingly, Super Duper Looper is running butter smooth. You would also think a loop, just a casual loop, wouldn't be as intense as this loop is. This loop packs a punch, let me tell you. Especially if you're in the back row, this loop will pack a heavy punch. However, the only reason that this ride is in the number 9 spot is because after the loop, there are no more intense elements. There are no even S-turns around the stream. It's just little turns here and there around the stream into a tunnel, and that's pretty much it. I wish that there was at least one more intense element, and that would really be higher. I do love this coaster to pieces for what it is. Could it be better? Yes. Do I still love it to pieces? Of course. The memories on this ride will always stay with me, and I just love this ride to pieces, and it's a very historic and fun ride in general. I just want to say, if you watched this far, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below if you want to see more Hershey Park videos just like this one. I have a lot more planned and a lot more I would like to make, and if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments if A, I should make more of these, and B, which videos I should be making about your ideas. Anyway, let's go on to number 8. Number 8 is Comet. Comet is the park's oldest roller coaster, coming in at the age of 76 years old. Comet is a good old-fashioned wooden coaster, and you know how much I love my wooden coasters. This roller coaster is extremely fun, and it's just extremely enjoyable for all ages. This coaster does follow a usual layout for a wooden coaster, but I'll cut it some slack. It was made 76 years ago and is still running like a charm. This coaster it features so many airtime hills. I mean, you're not going to get the most airtime, obviously, it is a wooden coaster, but it just features so many fun elements, and when you're riding it, it's just so nostalgic and so fun, because you're thinking that you're riding the oldest roller coaster at the park. And you would think that a roller coaster 76 years old would be very janky, but it's not. It is running glass smooth, and it is surprising to me that a ride so old is running smoother than some of our more recent roller coasters. But this ride, I can't really put into words. I love this ride to pieces. I wish I could put it higher on this list, but just the roller coasters that I should say top 7 are as elite that it would not fit on that list. If the top 7 weren't as elite as they are, it would definitely be in the top 5 or very close to the top 5, because you know how much I love my wooden roller coasters. But because of the top 7 are as elite as they are, it just wouldn't fit in. But other than that, I love Comet to pieces. It is such a great ride, and it's just amazing. That's all I can say. It's just amazing. Moving on to number 7, which is Jolly Rancher Remix, aka Sidewinder. If you're unaware, a few months ago, Hershey Park decided to retheme the good old-fashioned Sidewinder into this nightclub-looking thing. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think retheming this ride is really well for the park. I also think that it does not only good way making money wise, but also I think it also, brightens the skyline like they're marketing. As when you walk past it, there's a new flat ride in front of it, like the Mixed by Jolly Rancher or whatever it was. I don't really know the exact type of ride that is, but it does look really nice, especially if you're standing in front of it and you look and the train of Jolly Rancher Remix goes through the loop and then wraps around. That is so scenic to me. The only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't mix well at all with Pioneer Frontier. Pioneer Frontier consists of Trailblazer, Cowboy, Wild West, yada yada yada, you get the gist. And Stormrunner is a semi-Wild West coaster, you could say. I mean, the color scheme definitely doesn't scream Wild West, that it's red and white and yellow, but it is a horse, and, Cowboys rode horses, Dreams go as fast as the wind, and Stormrunner's a launch coaster. You get what I mean. And I just wanted to say this. I know, I'm not a big fan of the theming. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it, but I also don't love it. It's like right in the middle between hating and loving it. It's like, one time I think about it, and it's like, I miss Sidewinder, but the other time I'm like, wow, that actually looks pretty cool, whatever. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you like the retheming of Sidewinder turning into Jolly Rancher Remix, or do you prefer the good old-fashioned Sidewinder? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to number 6, which is Great Bear, the park's B&M inverted roller coaster. I love this ride to pieces. I just prefer number 5. And when I give you number 5, you're all gonna probably flip and say, this man is insane for putting that over the incredible Great Bear. And let me just say this. Great Bear is an amazing ride. The one thing that I don't like about it is how it starts. After the lift hill, it just goes into a downward helix, which is a very, very strange start for a roller coaster in general, especially a B&M inverted. Usually B&M inverted coasters usually go into a bank down drop or some type of drop similar to that, because it is a B&M inverted coaster. The way that they have to do drops is a lot different than a regular coaster. Like a regular B&M coaster is a lot different. But I really wish that it had at least a bank down drop, because that start is very slow. Because once after the downward helix, then it starts picking up, but that start is not very intense at all. This coaster whips you through 4 inversions, which is absolutely incredible. These inversions are so fun and intense, it is incredible. I love the feeling of having your feet dangling as you're being whipped through different elements throughout the ride. It is absolutely incredible. But like I said, the only thing holding us back from the top 5 is the fact that it starts off super slow with that downward helix. Even if it just featured a regular bank down drop, this coaster, I believe, would have made top 5. Let me also mention this about Great Bear. If you've been to Hershey Park at least once in your life, you've probably heard this sound that you're about to hear. This is the incredible roar of Great Bear. Once you hear this sound, you know you're in the incredible park known as Hershey Park. Other than the fact that they're really tall steel structures and it's called Hershey Park Amusement Park. Anyway, moving on to my top 5 coasters at Hershey Park. And kicking us off in the 5th spot is the park's 2 wooden coasters that are technically 1, Lightning Racers. Lightning Racers, if you're unaware, is a dueling coaster. Dueling coasters are when 2 coasters are going along the same track and are racing each other to see who can beat who. I absolutely love this ride. This is what a wooden roller coaster and a dueling coaster in general should be. This coaster features so many fun elements, especially being a wooden roller coaster, and it can give you some pretty fun airtime for a wooden coaster at least. I love the bank down drop that it starts with. This coaster is incredible. Whether it's not like if you ride one side, it's more fun than the other. Both sides are so equally fun. It is incredible. This coaster also looks so cool. Like, if you're looking at pictures of it, I'll put a few up on screen of my favorites. This coaster just looks incredibly cool. Like, you'll see a regular roller coaster like Sky Rush, and it's like, hey, look, it's a roller coaster. But then you see Lightning Racers, it's like, hey, look, it's a wooden roller coaster that has two trains going at the same time. That's amazing. I'm so glad that whoever created dueling roller coasters was born and decided to come up with this magnificent idea, because this is what an amazing coaster should look like. I love wooden roller coasters in general, especially banked on drops like the first one features, the first drop on Lightning Racers, I should say. And I'm also just a huge fan of dueling coasters in general. I haven't rode many, I've only really rode Lightning Racers and just a few others, but I really love this ride. It is so incredible because you're only going at a set speed. However, when you're racing, you're mentally telling yourself that you're going faster than what you are, because it's that aspect of racing that really enhances your experience on this ride and really just makes you feel like you're going faster than you actually are. And I absolutely love this ride to pieces. It is a great ride. Moving on to number 4, which is Storm Runner, the park's launch coaster. I absolutely love this ride, and I'm a huge fan of launch coasters in general. I think it's so incredible how it can go from just being a stationary train going on the track to going to a set speed in just a few seconds. Like, for example, Storm Runner is 0 to 72 in 2 seconds. That is absolutely incredible. However, this ride has one of the shortest ride times, if not the shortest ride time in the entire park. This ride has a ride time of 22.3 seconds to be exact. That is very short. However, this coaster throws you through so many different elements in such a short time. You have, I believe, you're thrown at least into 5 elements, 4 being different than each other in less than 30 seconds. That is absolutely incredible. I love the views you get on top of its 150 top hat. If you don't know what that means, it's basically an element that is used as the first main element on a launch coaster. It kind of looks like a hat. That's how it has the name Top Hat. But I absolutely love this ride, and there's not much to say about it, as it is a really short ride. It is extremely fun, and it's just so awesome in general. Number 3 is Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is such an amazing ride, let me tell you. If you've never been on Fahrenheit and you're about to go on it, and who knows how long, you're in for a treat. This coaster brings you up a vertical lift, which means you're basically going up 90 degrees, and then you're dropping beyond that. That is absolutely insane. This coaster throws you through so many fun elements and insane airtime, especially that drop. Let me tell you, once you go over that hill, you are out of your seat until you hit that bottom of that hill. It is absolutely insane. I love this coaster. It's a great coaster. I don't think I would put it higher. I just prefer number 2 and number 1 on it. A lot of people actually have this higher than my number 1, and they have my number 1 close to 4 or 3 on their own list. I don't personally agree with that, but everyone's obliged to have their own opinion. But Fahrenheit, insanely fun, insanely intense, insanely exciting, insanely thrilling. It basically is the explanation of a perfect coaster, and it is so close to being in the second or even first spot. It is absolutely crazy. This ride is so fun, so scary. I don't really find it scary. I find it fun as I'm an enthusiast, but a lot of the general public does find it really scary, as you're going straight up and then you're going down beyond 90 degrees. It is absolutely amazing. But what do you guys think? Do you think Fahrenheit should be higher or lower on this list? Let me know in the comments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to my top 2 coasters, Hershey Park. And let me tell you this, these are going to be very controversial, because I'm going to give you number 2, and you're all going to say that should be number 1. While everyone's going to say number 1 should be 3 or 4. I don't agree with that at all. But let me give you my number 2. Number 2 is the B&M Hyper, one of them at least, at the park, Sky Rush. This 200-foot tall, 75 miles per hour coaster is awesome. This coaster features so many fun elements. Even though it has known versions on it, it still manages to pack a heavy punch and give a thrilling experience. This coaster is very, very intense. I mean, it is extremely intense, I'll give you that. I don't mind it at all. Are there some painful elements on it because of the restraints? Absolutely. Does it ruin the ride? Not at all. Not even by a little bit. I actually don't mind the restraints that much. I'll give you that. They do kind of make the ride a little unpleasant, but it doesn't ruin the ride for me at all. This coaster features some insane ejector airtime hills. It is absolutely incredible. This coaster, the B&M took a huge risk when they bought this little plot of land at Hershey and built something, and they managed to create one of the best coasters in America or even in the world, and the second best on my list. Sky Rush is slightly beaten, and I want to emphasize slightly beaten out by my number one. And when I say slightly, I mean slightly. I mean, Sky Rush was a hair away from being a number one. I just prefer my number one for, I don't know, it's a really fun coaster. It has some really nice theming and a lot of scenery to it too. A lot of people completely disagree that this should be number 3 or 4, but let me spit it out. Number 1 is the park's newest, tallest, fastest, and longest and sweetest coaster at the park, Candymonia. This ride is insanely fun. This coaster brings up a 210-foot lift and a 76 miles per hour ride. This coaster has 7 camelback hills, has a hammerhead turn, and a upward helix, and this insanely scenic turnaround around the kissing fountain. This coaster is insanely fun. This coaster also has some of the best theming in the park. In my opinion, it has the best theming in the park. The logo, the station, the track color, the way it mixes in with Chocolate Town. This coaster is what a coaster should be. I know a lot of people don't agree, as it is definitely not the most intense coaster at the park, but it is the most thrilling. That 210-foot drop. And then you go into close to 100 and I'll say 10 feet camelback, and then into a hammerhead turn. You don't know what that means, it's on screen. And upward helix, there's such a scenic turnaround, like I mentioned, around the Kisses Fountain. I love this coaster to pieces. It is absolutely incredible. In my opinion, it deserves to be number 1. I know a lot of people don't agree with that at all, but I do. I think it should be in number 1, no doubt. And let me also tell you this. Not only does this coaster have great scenery, oh my god, I can't talk, and theming, this coaster also has some of the, they don't have the best elements of the park, obviously. It has no inversions. It only has simple camelback hills and a hammerhead turn. But this coaster is so photogenic. Like I said, I feel like any picture you look up of Candymonia, it just looks awesome. Especially if you're looking at a picture around the Kisses Fountain. It is absolutely incredible. The first drop, incredible. First camelback hill, incredible. All of it together, incredible. It's a masterpiece of a coaster. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my list in general, or disagree? Do you think that something should be ahead of Candymonia, maybe number 1, and Candymonia should be lower on this list? If you guys want to, I would really want to know what you guys list are. You can type it on the comments if you want. Obviously, you don't have to, but if you want to type out your own list in the comments, it would mean the world to me. I would love to hear what you guys think. If you agree, disagree, what would you do different? But yeah, that wraps up my first ever Hershey Park video. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you want more Hershey Park content, make sure you smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and comment down below what type of videos I should do. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.